Hello, beautiful people. It's Project Life Process video week 18 with a Wonder Box twist. We have 3 items that we are going to use: 2 fonts, the word fear, and a magazine. So I hope you're ready. Kick up your feet, grab a cup of coffee, and let's get started. I have picked out some items I'm also going to use as 6x8 insert. I have my magazines. I know my week. I've got a couple new items from Target that I picked up while perusing the aisles, and I have my photographs. So first up, just want to kind of play around with the placement of my photographs. And I've got a couple of photos that are too large and I need to trim them down so that they can fit in a 3x4 pocket. That first image I've trimmed down is me giving my beloved best friend and hubby a big smooch on the lips at my birthday party. So this particular layout is very heavy with images from my birthday party. My husband threw me a surprise party. I was absolutely surprised, thrilled, and just enjoyed a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. So much of this spread is about the birthday party. So these wood veneer letters, again, I picked up at Target, and they've really dwindled down their scrapbooking items, but they do have some new items really focused on kind of just everyday crafts for the household. So these letters were in that little area, and I thought I'd give them a try. They're about the same thickness of other wood veneer, so they are appropriate. If you really like thin items in your pockets, this might be a little bit too thick. Okay, next up, because I want to use multiple fonts in this layout, I thought I'd pick up some older thickers, those pink thickers, and some of these white letters and see if I might use them. And you'll see I play around with them for a bit, and in the end, opt to let them go and to go with something else instead. I'm also, for my magazine selection, I have kind of pulled out this sheet from Pottery Bar magazine, and it's just of paint. And I thought that that would work kind of in a very symbolic fashion because, as some of you may know if you've watched my earlier videos, we recently moved into our new home on December 23rd. And although most of the boxes we have gotten rid of, and I've done some kind of basic just moving around and decorating with items that we already have, I haven't really done any painting or big decorating, and so that's very high on my list. And so I thought I would incorporate the image of the paint just as kind of a symbol of something that I want to do very soon in our new home, particularly this summer. So trying to figure out just kind of what else I'm going to do with this 3x4 card, playing around with a couple of printable labels that I have, trying to see if I wanted to use some printable cards. I decided to kind of go with the green and yellow theme, really for no particular reason except the fact that I thought I might give green and yellow a go. A color really didn't pop out. I suppose I could have gone with blue, but I didn't really see any PO cards that really rocked my boat. So I just chose green and yellow because they're summery and bright and make me happy. So there you go. Okay, so I've gone to my standby, which are my Tim Holtz letters. And what came to me when I pulled the Wonderbox item, use the word fear, was to really use this particular spread as an opportunity to deal with kind of some things that I've been mulling over in my head. So first up is to create a card all about what I want now. And so as you see, I have decided to kind of use the clipping from the magazine as the background for what I want now. And so I'm just trying to kind of figure out the placement of my wants now, and moving that my over a bit. I felt like you could see it a bit better when it's on the white cardstock rather than directly on the magazine clipping. So in keeping with the theme, the next 3x4 card that I'm going to design is all around my fears now. So there's the word that I needed to use. And so that was really my guiding point. But I didn't want to emphasize just my fears. I also wanted to, again, deal with other kind of feelings and thoughts that I've been kind of wrestling with. So now I have one card that's going to focus on my wants now. And then I'm going to design a second card around my fears. Now, these little tags or labels that you see me working with, they're from the dollar bin at Target. I picked them up a couple of weeks ago. I actually went back to see if I could find some more. I have not been able to locate any additional ones. But I cut it down halfway and trimmed it a bit so that I could fit it width-wise onto the 3x4 card. So just trying to play around a bit with placement. So initially I have the two different labels facing each other, and I didn't like that look, and so that's why I switched the position of the two 3x4 cards. So this little, and I've used one of these before, this little tag, it's a wood veneer tag. That again is from the dollar store bin at Target. They're terribly cute, and again, couldn't find any more. But I'm going to use this one on my Fears Now card. And so I'm going to leave that, and then I've moved over to this photograph of me blowing out the candle on my birthday cake. And yes, you see correctly, I am 43! And woohoo! 43 is good. I feel good. And my husband was just such a sweetie to throw me a surprise birthday party. This is only the second birthday party I've ever had in my life. The first was actually when I was a little girl. I was turning 8 years old, and my family was moving away from Houston, Texas, and moving to Raleigh, North Carolina. And my parents really didn't believe in birthday parties, but they threw me a birthday / going away party, and it was a Wonder Woman themed party. Hence I loved Wonder Woman then, and I still just kind of have this special place in my heart for Wonder Woman. So anyway, my 43rd birthday party is the second birthday party I've ever had, so it was really special. And I kind of like the fact that it's a random age. Like, everybody I had a 40th, just kind of not a birthday party, but hanging out with my girlfriends kind of evening. But the fact that it was just this odd number, random celebration, and all of my friends and family came to be with me, just made it so absolutely special. So my husband deserved that big kiss. Okay. So the other, I guess, interesting thing about this particular layout is that because it's kind of a birthday layout for me, I thought focusing on my feelings, my fears, my wants, and this layout, it absolutely made sense. And I thought it would be really wonderful to go back and visit this again and kind of see where I was at 43, but also thinking about my boys, and one day they will have the opportunity when they're 43 to kind of thumb through these old Project Life albums and to kind of see what I was thinking about and what I was feeling and what I was afraid of. And so that's kind of what was going on in my mind as I was designing and creating this particular spread this week. So those little glitter or shiny circles, can't remember what they're called now. They're really kind of cute, and so you see I layered one of those onto the page. So now I am going to kind of play around with the 6x8 insert. So there's a photo of my ever-growing son with my mom, and then a second photo of him with one of my girlfriend's daughters. They're just so stinking cute together. I just had to include it. So this is not a birthday photo. We took a family walk like we frequently do, and it was a beautiful, beautiful kind of purple sky that eventually turned a fire red, and the boys were just being silly, and I caught this photo of them. I often do take the camera with us on walks, just to kind of play around, and so I liked this image and wanted to include it. And I really don't even journal about it on this spread. It's just kind of there as an example of just kind of our everyday week. So now I'm working on the next kind of 3x4 card. And you will see in about 2 seconds that this card will say joys now. So what I've created in this particular spread then are kind of these 3 themes: joys now, fears now, wants now. And with each of them, you'll see later on that I will note some of the joys, fears, and wants that just kind of come to mind immediately. So I'm going to put a little bit of this, it's not thread, but I'll call it thread. This thread, I think I use hot pink here. Just to give an extra punch of color to the spread. And I'm just kind of tying it and swishing it a little bit, and then I will use my tiny stapler to adhere it. Okay. So now you can see I've made some really nice progress. And you can see where I am in terms of the insert and how that kind of fits along with the 6x12 spreads. So I decided that I really wanted to make sure it was clear that this was an insert, and so I put a little washi tape along the side of the 6x8 insert. I really like the extra added punch of color, and just put the holes there so it fits nicely into the album. And I think that's something that I might do again whenever I have an insert to include within a weekly spread. So I'm going back to these little shiny doodads from Target, and I'm going to use them again and then just kind of clip them and adhere them to that photograph. Really not doing much to that image of me on the front steps with my mom, but wanted to just add just a splash of color to that photograph. Next up, I need to figure out what I'm going to add to this top photograph with me, my husband, and my mom and dad. This was toward the end of the party. We really had a lovely afternoon, and I just wanted to get, actually my eldest took this photograph, a photo of the 4 of us. And so pulling out some of these little Tim Holt phrases that you've seen me use time and time again. I'll use them a couple times actually on this particular spread. I adore them. I've told you before, they just speak to me right now. And so some of the different phrases, they're just so elevating and inspirational, and that just works for me. So just a very kind of light embellishment cluster there. And I'm moving on. So I'm trying at this point to figure out what the heck I'm going to do for my title card. I've been, the last few weeks, you've noticed, using photographs as the foundation for my title cards. And I'm going to continue with that again this week. So I'm just putting in the dates for the week. And so I know that I want to incorporate the dates of the week, and so I go ahead and adhere that down because that's a given for me. But I'm not sure how I want to add the week designation, whether I want to have the small kind of WK18 or whether I want to do something a little bit larger. And part of it for me is that I could just go very small, but the actual WK and number, they are a way to embellish and decorate the photograph. And so I do kind of really in some ways belabor the point a bit or the process. Um, and I thought maybe I'd try using the large 18, which looked really fun and a great way to kind of highlight the title page. But I'm not sure, so I don't adhere anything. And then I step away and go do something else. So I went to journal. And so you see, I think this is a 10-point font. So I really needed to squeeze a lot of journaling in, which I was able to do. And now I'm back and I've trimmed it. I actually put a little bit of vellum that I trimmed also to 4x6 over the journaling. And not that it's totally hidden. For the random person that's just kind of flipping through my Project Life album, they won't even bother to read. For those that care, they're welcome to kind of pull the vellum back and really read the journaling closely. So I decide that I don't want that big 18 on the title card. I do want the WK, but I need to figure out a way to incorporate the 18. And rather than going with the numbers, I decide to actually write out or spell out 18. So I like the way that looks. However, I realize I did it the wrong direction. Will it come to me in a moment? I'm like, what is going on here? That's not right. Aha! I discover my error. And so now I've got to move everything over, and it actually ends up taking quite a bit of time. I fiddle with this a bit to fit the 18 onto the tag, and to do so and have enough space. And one of the nice things, though, that I wanted to note about the Tim Holtz is that there are some sticky letters that once you put them down, they're not moving. And then there are others that once you move them once, they will never stick again. Somehow or another, these Tim Holtz letters are the perfect kind of combination of stickiness, but not too sticky. And you will see I'm literally moving them about 3 or 4 times. And once I finally get them in place and apply a bit of pressure, they are good and they do not move. So love them, love them, love them. Okay, so the title page is about done. In addition to my journaling with my computer and printing it out on some white cardstock, I also printed out some of my joys, my fears, and my wants. And so now I'm just trimming those a bit and placing those onto the prepared 3x4 cards. So I kept the joys fairly simple. The list initially was pretty long, and I realized I really wasn't going to have all the space to do that. Some of it is included in the lengthier paragraph of journaling, which I've already included. So I just listed a few things: my boys, my family, making a difference in the community really matters to me, is important to me. So those are some of the things that I just listed in terms of my joys. Now for the fears, I really did try to be, I don't know, to listen to my heart, I suppose, as I was trying to think about what my fears are. And I spent a lot of time doing that. And what I finally came up with, quite honestly, is that I am afraid of failure. I'm afraid of not doing everything I need to do right for my boys, and they both have unique needs. I'm afraid of not meeting my own personal goals in terms of my profession, my career. I'm afraid of not being the wife and the friend that my husband needs me to be. So I'm a worrier. Like, that is one of the things that kind of defines me. I worry way too much. And I always have to kind of talk myself out of allowing fear to get in the way of me moving forward. And so I wanted to include some of that here. And so rather than kind of detail all of the specific fears, I ended up just noting failure, that I'm afraid of failure. And more detail, a little bit more, is included in, again, the paragraph journaling. But this is something that I want to think about more, and think about just authentic journaling, because I imagine that one day my boys will be 43 and they will revisit this and these pages that I've created for them. And I hope I'm around, but if not, I want to leave my wisdom and my experiences for them to read, and hopefully to guide them. So, added the wants now. I want to decorate. I talked a little bit about my boys with the want as well. And so I feel really good actually about creating some meaningful journaling in this particular spread. And because I have the vellum over the paragraph, I am able to include this clear sticker, which I really kind of like the look of that, and I might try that again in the future. So now I'm left with this kind of last 3x4 card to decorate. And not sure what I want to do. I really like the design, the pattern, I should say, of the 3x4 card. I love the yellow and the floral kind of take. And so, again, going to these little blingy things from Target and layering that over the vellum. And that's a die cut from my just kind of random die cut stash. And so I hear the vellum down, then the little blingy circle, and then the @ sign from my wood veneer stash. I trim off that little piece. And so at first I pull a few words from some of the Tim Holtz sheet of words. And I don't like it on the yellow card. I feel like the yellow card in the end ends up being far too busy for this particular spread. There's so much text, there's so many photographs that I needed to use white just to give a clean, simple look. And I'm pleased with that. So here's my full spread with the insert. Yeah. So thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you are inspired. I know this was a tricky challenge. It was for me, but in the end, it really pushed me to look deeply, creatively, and also just look into my heart and to leave a spread that I hope is meaningful for years to come. Thanks and hugs to you.